morning again, everybody. The first announcement will be that if you wanted to tithe with the square, see Becky afterwards, so she has the square, so if you use a credit card or something. Morning, people. We're live streaming. Everybody wave. So now for the fun part, it's our announcements. So let's get ready with some. This Tuesday is drumming, correct? No, I lie. I begin my talk with a lie. Next Tuesday is drumming, correct? And I come back to the truth. I have fallen, but only for a moment. So anyway, being silly. So it's the second and fourth Tuesday of every month, and I was just discombobulated. Oh, that's right, we just started a new month. So we have July birthdays today too. So no two selves. So happy July, and welcome to the month of July, all you July babies. So Course in Miracles is Wednesday nights from 7 to 8:15-ish. We like the ish part because sometimes we get stuck in a conversation and we just keep going. Unless Brian's here, then he's like, and he ends it right at 8:15. I'm sorry. If you're watching, Brian, we love you. But anyway, so that's happening on Wednesday nights. Thursday, we've been having a world relations class with Dale, but it's kind of put on hiatus right now because Dale's been going through some health issues. So we ask that everybody keep sending positive, loving vibes, as I know you all have been, to Dale, that he, gets healthy and can come back and play in the morning and play on Thursday nights again. So people that have been doing the class, I believe, have been having fun. Oh, yeah. So that'll be on Thursdays at 7 to 9 when Dale returns. When Dale returns, yeah. So we'll post it. We'll let you all know. Okay, July 15th, we're having our speed healing event. So this is our third annual one, and it's a very groovy thing. And if you've never heard of it, it's kind of like speed dating. We're going to have 6 different stations, correct? And each station will 10 minutes of some kind of healing modality. And you'll be going from one station to another, so you'll have 60 minutes of all different kinds of healing, one of them being the aroma room in the back. We're going to have someone with tuning forks, going to have Reiki. We're going to have some shamanistic work, yes, and reflexology, and yeah, you can have it.
Reiki, aroma room, shaman,
cranial sacral.
Whole body alignment, yes. Cranial sacral.
With Trisha.
Trisha, small hopper,
and Ari, and we have Rhonda, and Scott, and Daylight, and Dana, Catherine. A groovy bunch of people that have hearts filled with love and light are going to be here to support us because this is a fundraiser. They're not making any money. They're networking and giving up their time and their magic and their wonder so that we may continue to prosper and move beyond prosperity into just the epiphany of abundance. We just can continue to create all of that wonder. So it's a groovy day. It's $42 a session. Get with Miss Becky because she's taking appointments. We're going to fill every single slot because it's the dynamic of it. They got to all be filled up, and there's 36 positions to fill, correct? So get with Becky afterwards, and she can tell you more about it, and Scott and any people that were here last time tell you what they got out of it too. We always say no heavy equipment operating afterwards because you're going to be a little, yeah, feel groovy though, feel fun. So that's July 15th. We ask that you spread the word as much as you can, networking, going online with our Facebook posts, sharing it with your friends.
I have some flyers out there if you're going someplace this week that you could.
Hey Eddie, you can pull a chair out and put your chair in, so you're in the circle.
You can take a flyer if you're going anywhere, doctor's office, dentist, if you're going to the gym, places like that, any place. Health food stores.
So next week we're going to have, for our diversity night, since we have so much going on that Saturday before, the power of your other hand. We haven't done this yet. I'm going to create an event for us so maybe more people will come and be aware of it. It's kind of an Oracle Within type thing. We're going to do it for diversity night. I have 3 questions set up designed to talk to an inner self and have them give you the answer. It's always an inside job anyway, but sometimes we're disconnected from those voices or from those parts of us that have something to say, be it something profound or something like, hey, ouch, I hurt, you never let me talk, whatever. So you can find out something about yourself and you can maybe have a cure for the world. Who knows what happens during these things? It's not a place of judgment, it's a place of discovery and wonder and fun. So I invite you to that too. I don't know what my talk is going to be next week. That's a surprise too. So, stay tuned. Now, different announcements. A couple weeks ago, I put out there that we wanted some things, and I asked for a new camera for us, because the better camera we have, the more technical, the more tech savvy it will be for us, or user friendly it will be to interface with all the things that we want to do in live streaming. So we put a budget of like $200 for a new camera, and we already got $50 towards it. So we're already a quarter of the way there. And as Philip gets that, he can interface all these different things and do the type of live streaming that we want and make it interactive to where we could do it on his phone if he needed to. Or Becky or I could download the app and do diversity nights and start maybe streaming some of our nighttime events for those folks that want to come in and do work here, but also want to be on YouTube and be out there in a greater community as they're making a name for themselves more as well. So keep that in mind if anybody would like to donate towards that. Groovy, we'd appreciate that. Now, talk with our landlord this week. And you see all this stuff going on the sidewalk outside. It's been a wreck, it's been a mess, and at first I was like, with it, and then I spied some things going on. Well, you see the neighbors we have next door, the Powell Police Athletic League. They have this thrift shop there. And they're really groovy people, they're good neighbors to have, and it's gonna help the big picture of what's going on in this building, because they have some of the city's ear as well. So as we've been talking, we discovered that the city is completely renovating this whole strip. They've changed the driveway, you may have already noticed, so the dynamics of parking are different on that side. This side of the building isn't owned by Lori, it's the city's property, so right now we can't park there while they're doing all this jazz. But they're actually gonna be rebuilding the entire sidewalk, getting rid of that big hump in front of their door and leveling the sidewalk so that it's wheelchair accessible right off the sidewalk. So we have major renovations going on, and in the long run, it's going to look beautiful. It's going to make a big difference aesthetically, and we're going to be doing the Pardon Our Dust stuff for a while. So it's actually a positive thing happening, because when we're done, it's going to enhance the value of this building for Lori, for our landlord, and it's also going to make it more user-friendly for people to get in and out. Along with that, if you've been in this community for a long time, you notice that this building used to be all of this sea life scene that's on the other side of the building. And Lori repainted that part because the weather beat it down even worse. But this east side we've talked about recently, and she wants to repaint the building because it's just faded. And she's open to doing a similar scene regardless of what crap she gets from the city. So we're putting a word out to local artists who may want to just have some fun and recreate a similar scene. If not, we're just going to paint it the color of the building. So there's no rush, because this project going on has all their cranes and things like that out there. Nobody's going to be doing it soon. So if you know people that do this kind of artwork, even if they just replicated what was there or created something different, Lori's open to it. Okay, she wants to know what's there because she's still the owner and has got to deal with the city. But if we did something similar, something cosmic like we're into, we talked about how it would kind of be like a gateway into Cocoa Village, because they're trying, Cocoa Village is aesthetically pleasing, kind of beatnik and bohemian in some aspects, that we think the city, to put a plus like, no, we're welcoming people. So put that vibe out there, and if not, then we'll have the same color that's on the front of the building, which is what? I forget, brown, mauve, gold, I don't even know. Shows you how present I am walking in. I think it's orange, yeah, orange, we have orange. So anyway, put the word out there. To me, that's a positive thing, because we can have fun with that, and artists can have fun with that if they want to. And she's even willing to pay to an extent, if the price is reasonable. So, I don't know, people might want just to know that they're part of something bigger than them, when a big building that's part of our city, part of our community. So put that out there in a good way. Any other announcements that anybody? Diversity night tonight, thank you. So, as we do this morning, and you can see obviously there's a little bit different setup. Tonight's diversity night is called Blessing America. And we're gonna have a neat thing. We're gonna have 4 different people that are gonna come in and do meditations. And Becky, why don't you talk more about this? Because, you know, this is part of your passion. We talked about it the other day, but you brought the idea to me.
It's gonna be Blessing America. I was thinking about this 4th of July holiday coming up. It's like, I wasn't feeling it. You know what I mean? Wasn't having the enthusiasm, you know, fireworks and all that stuff. So, I just thought it'd be kind of cool if we had an event where we blessed America. We've got 4 people coming to do meditation. We have Margie doing one, Ron Van Dyke, Daylight, Jerry, thank you, Jerry. And Jerry's doing one. They're gonna be like 10-minute meditations each. One's gonna be for our leaders, one's gonna be for our people, one's gonna be for our land and natural resources, and one's gonna be for our place in the world. And then we're gonna have a candlelighting ceremony, we're gonna sing a song. It's gonna be just simple, come hang out. That'd be a nice way to start the 4th of July celebration. There's a Facebook event. If you haven't seen it, you're on Facebook, share that. More the merrier, but whoever wants to show up and be here. Starts at 6. We should be out of here by 7:15.
That's where that ish comes in. It'll be fun. It'll be groovy. So, back in. So let us get back in our bodies, and let me get back in my body. And I invite us to take some deep breaths and make some noise on the way out. So deep breath in. I'm going to do that 2 more times. One more nice deep breath, a really long sigh on the way out. I'd also like to say a welcome to all the folks that are here for the very first time. Thank you for coming and being part of our community. You can tell already that we're kind of down to earth and silly and playful, and that's what it's about for us. So as we're coming into this thing tonight and into 4th of July weekend, you can, if you want to, you can put the first picture or slide, whatever you want to call it, up there. Do me a favor and dim the spots on me, because they can see me. So, I'm just going to get out of the way a little bit. So as we were doing this and talking about Blessing of America and 4th of July, I'm a vet, and I'm not like the most patriotic guy in the world, and I'll own that, but I love my country, and I love my countrymen. I just don't necessarily see the borders in my life that some people see. Get these on. I'll fix that for you, Debbie, later. And I wanted to honor the first Americans in a different way before we went into America, where we are at now, and bring with it at the same time the blessings that are coming from all of these people tonight in their way, in their good heart, but to start out with the first Americans and noting and noticing and honoring the fact that our beginnings in this country weren't all that groovy. So this isn't a talk about beating up white people, but there's going to be a little bit of a calling out too. So a long time ago, I wrote a poem, song, chant, whatever you want to call it, called Eagle's Cry, and I'm going to sing, chant, talk that to you now in a moment. We'll see. I'm going to make noise out of my throat, but pay attention more to the words and less to my singing, because it will just have more of an impact coming out this way. So if you can do the mic thing for me and put that up there, and I'm just gonna be with it. Someone turn the lights off so that you guys can see the lyrics. And if I had a drum at the same time, I would have done it, but I don't have that kind of rhythm. Whoa, a little less effects for me, just a tad less. Take a nice deep breath. And just be with the words of this. From ruins of the ancient to mountains on high lives the echo trill of the eagle's cry. The gift of the buffalo from spirit to man, bestowed to gather from, but rape not this land. Stories of white man, how valiant and bold, by fork-tongued tutors and truths they have told. Bargains and swindles from the new white man ears, gave Genesis, the red one's new river of tears. Massacred and vanquished, Holocaust and hell, butchered red child, coerced from their dwell. Butchered red child, coerced from their dwell. Butterfly mourns the passing of dawn, hummingbird weeps in despair. Tears of serenity from doe unto fawn, as mountain lion grieves with the bear. As mountain lion grieves with the bear. Rabbit scurries, timid and frightened, fearful of what's come to pass. Coyote cries faintly to the moon in the sky, for the death of the red ones in mass. The death of the red ones in mass. The creepies and the crawlies, the four-legged and winged ones despondent for the blood that's been shed. Unite in dismay that the legends and songs bide silent along with the dead. Bide silent along with the dead. As with whales are the records and songs of her past. Lessons of creatures and red men will last. Legend can be hearkened from morning till night in the echo shrill of the eagle's cry. As with whales are the records and song of her past. Lessons of creatures and red men will last. Legend can be hearkened from morning till night in the echo shrill of the eagle's cry. Echo shrill of the eagle's cry. Echo shrill of the eagle's cry. For me, I wrote that in '93, and that happened to me sitting on my back porch, always thinking that an eagle was the sounds that I heard from Hollywood with that high-pitched shriek, which is really a hawk, a red-tailed hawk. And that's the sound of an eagle. And there was this eagle circling and screaming that sound the whole time while I wrote this. And when it was done, he flew away. And it happened in like a half-hour period of time. It was right after I came out of that sickness with TTP where all kinds of wild stuff was happening to me. But it's something that became very passionate for me. And it wasn't a place to diss us white people forever. It was a place to honor where our Native American brothers and sisters and what they had gone through, and know that even through all that, to this day, they bring us the gifts of this medicine wheel. They bring us teachings and wonders that all the animals have taught them of how to live on the earth and live in harmony with each other. And there's a lot of different cultures that have this, and there's a lot of different people that know these things. But for this talk, this is a journey around the medicine wheel. And it's an honoring of the native peoples, and it's an honoring of the culture. And it's, I spit on your back, sorry. And it's an honoring of the lessons they brought. So, today we're in a circle. And I painted this table the other day, which is a basic medicine wheel. It gives the different directions, and we're going to go around the directions one by one as I talk. But white will be north, yellow will be east, red is south, black is west, the blue is above, the green I have for below. I didn't have anything for the within. Some people say it's gold. Just pick your color for the within. If you notice the very center of those, there's a red line and a blue line. In Native American philosophy, some of the cultures, there's the earth walk that we walk is called the Good Red Road. And the blue road is called the Spirit Road. It's where our ancestors walk, and those who have come before us, and those that aren't in physical form. And you notice in the middle it joins with just a little circle of blackness and some stars, so to speak, and some galaxies, and that's that center, that universe, that void. And all directions are always honored in the Native Americans, in a lot of different cultures, and a lot of different folklores. But for this, we're just going to talk a little bit about what these directions mean. Notice that you all sat in a certain place too. Nobody directed anybody where to sit today. And there's never any accidents, and it's just something, you know, we talk about that this place is a place to celebrate your divinity while exploring your humanity. And there's always going to be a way to discover and explore your humanity. So in different cultures, as we look at the medicine wheel, we look at things like sweat lodge and what directions they start in. We'll have some of the people, like our Lakota brothers and sisters, will start ceremonies in the west. Our Apache brothers and sisters will start ceremonies in the east. Some of our Seminole brothers and sisters will start ceremonies in the south. I have a lot of south energy. I've got very much coyote in me. There's the lessons of my life about trust, innocence, faith, playfulness, all lessons of coyote. So generally, I will start in the south. There's no right or wrong way to do anything. So as we're going around the medicine wheel, we understand there's lessons of these directions. The south is coyote, the protector of the south gate. Shanadisi is one of the ways I've heard him called, and is trust, innocence, playfulness. It is also the physical. It represents physical. So it's trusting that your needs will be met on your earth walk. Remember, the south is the window we come into this physical world, and the window we go out. He went south, he died. We've heard that expression. Okay? So understand that these traditional expressions come from folkloric and cultural backgrounds that have energy or medicine in what we call these directions. So coyote and raccoon, and there's other animals that hang out in the south. Otter's another one. It's playful spirit medicine. Teaches us again to be playful, but it's about trusting that our needs will be met, having childlike faith and innocence, and to be able to make fun of yourself along the way, along this earth walk, along your journey on that good red road, to know that all kinds of things are going to be brought to you, good, bad, positive, negative, joy, sorrow. There's no judgment on these things when we're coming from that place of trust, knowing that in this place, I am innocent. In this place, I am sacred. In this place, I know I will be provided for. And when I take things too seriously, Coyote's going to come in there and squiggle right between my legs to have me fall flat on my face on my own path, just to remind me that I'm taking things too seriously. We've all seen the Wile E. Coyote cartoons and the Roadrunner. It's the epitome of the South medicine of Coyote getting caught up in his own traps. And that's what will happen with Coyote when we take life too seriously, or we forget to trust, or we forget to play. So we honor that energy. We know that it's that innocence that brought us in. And from that place of innocence, we find our essence. And it gives us a trusting to know that while I'm here on that good red road walking, that all my needs will be met. We did a talk a few weeks ago, or a couple weeks ago. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will have no fear, for thou art with me. So, energy. It's just understanding that I'm okay, even though I'm in this scary world. Cody's going to say, laugh at it all. But what do you mean? I see death, I see destruction, I see sadness and grief. And Coyote's like, laugh at it all. There's a story about Coyote where this guy was wanting to be a guru, wanting to learn, wanting to be that medicine man, where his shaman said, okay, you want to heal the world, you want to take on the pain of the world. So he had him gather the scat of a bunch of different animals and make it into a pudding, or whatever you want to call it, a stew, and sit in a circle with it all around him and on him till he got it. And he all of a sudden, like after hours and hours of meditation, he just busted up laughing because he realized what his shaman was making him do was to point out to him that he's been sitting in everybody else's shit. And to quit taking it so seriously, because that's what you get. And it was a funny lesson and a simple lesson, but that's Coyote medicine. That's what Coyote is going to do to us. And whenever we're taking life too seriously, you might notice poo all around us. And have you ever stepped in poo? Coyote. Just reminding you. What, you think you're above this? Now you have poo on your feet. What are you going to do now? You have to stop and deal with it, don't you? It's one of those moments. Sometimes Coyote can be considered vile because the lustful energies are part of Coyote too. But it's an appreciation of all, because remember, Coyote is innocence and the protector of the children. And he's saying that it's all good. Even our sexuality is sacred. So don't get yourself so serious, even in your own sexuality, that you forget how innocent it really is. Those are some of the lessons of the South. With the Native American traditions and a lot of different traditions, they know that the turn of the tables happen at all times. The whole giveaway ceremony is designed to teach us that good fortune and misfortune are all part of our journey and all part of our lives. So they have this word ours in their language, and we instead of me and mine, because they know that what is mine is yours too. So if I'm eating today, so are you. And if your cupboard or your medicine bag doesn't have enough in it today, mine does. And if mine is empty tomorrow, yours is full. All of the people will always eat. All of the people will always have prayers. All of the people can trust in the fact that their needs will be met. And that's some of the energy of the South. So as we move around that medicine wheel, we now go to the West. Again, notice where you're sitting. The West is a place of introspection. The West is the dark. The West is the blackness, the void, where we create our dreams. We think about them first before they can come into form. Bear is the guardian of the West Gate, Mato in Lakota. Not my toe, Mato. And think about the power of bear. We talked about mama bear before. Think how ferocious a mama bear could be if somebody is messing with her young. But bears in general really aren't hostile critters. If you've ever watched a bear, you just want to go run up and hug it and play with it. Make sure you're really zenned out before you do that. I would recommend, because I'm going to honor bear from where it is. I got called out on that once where coyote and bear showed up at the same time when I was out in the woods with my friend Salady. We were on our adventure, and I thought I saw a bear, and I ran towards it. And she's like, "What are you doing?" "I want to see the bear." My innocence was there. I think in that energy, I would have been safe if I still kept my distance, because it was my little kid that was there. That's my contention. But it was a wild hog instead, so no worries. But back to bear. back to the west, back to that introspection, and looking where you're sitting in this circle, just to be aware of it. Because the west, or black, or that direction is also the emotional part of us. Okay? So it's that deep within feeling, that deep within the darkness, the void of ourselves is going to come out into the light, and Bear is going to be the gatekeeper. She's going to protect you in that space when it's time to go within, because there's moments in all of our lives that we just have to go within. We have to retreat a little bit. We have to take that step back and go back into the womb, so to speak, back into the void, back into the darkness, and recreate something. Bear will help you, and Bear will protect you while you're there. She won't let no one in your sacred space while you are within the void of creating and dreaming. Know that she's the gatekeeper for this. Know that these are the emotions that she's going to help you bring out from the depths of yourself by being there and being present and knowing Bear energy. And again, knowing how ferocious Bear can be, you have the power to deal with anything that comes up in the darkness, with anything that comes up in the void, with anything that will make you freak out in your own emotional body. And just trust that the South energy has got you covered too. They all work together. As we move around the medicine wheel to the north, we come to white, representing the north. White buffalo, Tatanka. Now, in the native tradition, there's a person, a woman, an entity called White Buffalo Catwoman. And she's been likened to the energy of the Blessed Virgin Mary in energy, okay? And she brought to the people a promise and a prayer and the gift of the sacred pipe and ceremonies, which led to so many more ceremonies like the Manipi ceremony or Sweat Lodge. And what the North represents is abundance and prayer and wisdom and truth and purity. And one of the things that came with that was a promise to the peoples that the day the white buffalo returned, that the land would be returned back to the native peoples. And the native peoples, meaning you don't have to be born an Indian to inherit the land. The meek shall inherit the earth. It's been said in many different ways. This is what the promise of the North represented to those people, and it taught them to pray in a good way. They gave them the ceremony of the pipe, which married the masculine and the feminine energies in a wonderful way and brought those prayers of the people up to spirit through the smoke. And the Sweat Lodge is the same exact ceremony as a pipe ceremony, just on that broader scale, where we honor the grandfathers and the grandmother earth and the water, and all realizing that in that union of fire and water and heat and steam is the same creative energy that made the universe. All that came from the North. All that came with the wisdom of the prayer pipe. All that came with White Buffalo and the gift and the promise of the people. It was almost like long ago with that Noah's Ark story. There was a covenant made in the form of a rainbow, that the world would never be destroyed by a flood again. This is a similar covenant. It's saying, don't worry, I know it sucks now. I'm ad-libbing. You got that, right? But trust, back to the South, that we will return to the earth, and the earth will return to us in a good way. Now, there's no time limit on this, and there's been a lot of different prophecies, and white buffaloes have been born. Matter of fact, I had some white buffalo medicine that I passed on to somebody else in a good way so that they could have that medicine. It's a promise. It's to remember that, and it's to remember to know that in the North is that where that wisdom comes from. It's that purity of spirit. It's that abundance. It's the manna. All of that is part of the North. And you see white, and white is definitely looked at color-wise as purity. It's another aspect of purity, of a lesson of purity that comes from the North as well. All these things blend into our lives to balance us, because this is what this is about, is balance. The North, we said physical was the South, West was emotional. This is the spiritual plane. This is the energy of spirit. This is where you take yourself to that higher level, where you understand your own consciousness is evolving. All those things the North holds for us. These are the gifts of the North. Remember, they're all gifts for us. They're gifts for us to understand as we walk our walk on that good red road. we trip or fall, that these directions are going to help us be in balance and know that that center within us is always sacred no matter what. Now, as we come back around to the east, I said to Duncan, I already gave you the White Buffalo. As we come around to the east, now we come into illumination. We come into the color yellow, the eagle being the gatekeeper, or Wambli Gleshka, as I was taught. There's other words for eagle in Lakota and all the different languages, but these were the words that I was taught. Wambli Gleshka, hawk, another messenger of the east, bringing into form what was created in the darkness from our minds, from our dreams, from the void of the west. This is what the east represents to us. It is also mental. So think about that. Yeah, think about that. All right, that's whatever you got that. That in that aspect, the mental part of us is what's bringing into form that thought, that dream comes into form. Like, now this is how I'm going to do it. And all those calculations and plans make it into a 3D world, and we build whatever. I had a dream about that. I had a dream like I dreamt it. I had to go within to see what I wanted to do before I did it. Every once in a while, I'd close my eyes and go, well, how does this want to look? Because there's all different kinds of medicine wheels depicted in how the design of them are. It's just simple. The outside represents the earth itself, the colors as far as it. But that yellow, that gatekeeper of the east, that knowing that everything that I dreamt about is coming into form, it's also the messenger of life. It's the messenger of walking your walk in a good way. Jesus came from the east, the far east, right? But he was a messenger. It's the same energy. It's the same coming into form. He proved, in all the stories we know about Jesus, God gave his only son, right? He produced and manifested in physical form God on earth. That's what Eagle and Hawk are trying to tell you. They're trying to bring that into this reality for you so that you can trust that you're always taken care of, that your dreams that you're dreaming are wonderful and will come into form in the east when you let them, and to just keep praying and know, keep that purity of heart in the north and watch that balance come together. All the ancestors that are before us walk on that blue road, but you notice how the blue road and the red road intersect? And where do they intersect? Right in the middle, in the center, right here. We know we can hear the ancestors. We know we're just as much spirit beings as we are physical beings. The illusion being more of the physical part of it. But the sun lets us know that we are in form. You are walking on the good red road. You are in this world. Use these other aspects for you to understand and walk in balance in this medicine world. There's medicines all over around us. For everything in nature, for every plant in nature that can give me a boo-boo, poison ivy, some kind of poison oak, any kind of malady, there's an antidote right by it. We may not have discovered all the antidotes, but nature has provided both for us. And that's part of understanding that balance of it, that to everything there is a season. These tables will always constantly turn. And to know that there's maybe times that I spend in the West, very introspective. Last few years of my life, because of my health issues and some of the other crap that has happened to me, I've been a lot in the West. Very yin energy also. Water, healing, tears, cleansing, all part of the West. Also. Bacteria. Yes, toadstools, mushrooms, darkness, the shade, the void, all of it. The valley, the mountaintop, all part of it. And to know that these are the colors of you. This is your medicine wheel. This is you. This is your body. This is who you are. It's just a symbol that they discovered and understood to teach the people. First lesson in Course in Miracles. Nothing I see has any meaning. Second, I give meaning to everything I see. The things that we give meaning to in a good way that help our spirits walk this world in balance help us. If you never see that table again, it doesn't mean you're not going to become enlightened. If you never heard of a medicine wheel or native, I'm not trying to be an Indian, I'm Italian. I'd be a Wapaho. But I'm fun. It's all good. It's just about having fun with it and knowing that if I can see these colors and I can focus on this in a good way, and it helps me out of the darkness back into the light, or it helps me trust that the prayers of the people are going to be answered. Well, crap, man. What more can I ask for? And if it shows up differently for you, if you look at the peace sign and that works for you, or if you go back to where's Jerry, the Egyptian things that we saw and look at Ankhs and all the different groovy, it doesn't matter because they're all saying the same thing. They all have the same truths. Physics, astrophysics, metaphysics, it's all going to be telling you the same thing. This is how they do it. But one of the things they also gave us and taught us is that each one of these animal critters, and you're one of them, you're an animal critter, so that means you have medicine too, offer us a different form of teaching and understanding and vibration, getting to that metaphysical part of frequency. Well, everything vibrates at its own frequency, and if me and Carlos hang out together, Carlos is vibrating one way, Mark's vibrating another way, and now we go out together, ooh, look out. We may be a force to be reckoned with, because now there's both of us, and our energy shifted. All of a sudden, maybe we're both popping into each other and inspiring us to go out and be really playful. Who knows what happens? Or we become powerful in ourselves when we go out and we help heal people in our community because we gave each other the courage to do it by being together. When two show up in my name, I will be there type scenario. Spirit will be with us when we're on purpose. In whatever form of religion or culture you want to think of, the dynamics work the same. And this is still teaching us the same thing. You're going to see a lot of different things in the back there on that table. They're different medicines. They have a different frequency and a different vibration, just like the energies of these directions have a different vibration. There's the other directions of the above, the below, and the within. And it's to honoring all of it. You'll see how that number 7 comes up a lot in different cultures. 7 sacred directions, 7 sacred sacraments. Lucky number 7, the 7-year cycle. All of it is just there to remind us of how this stuff works and how we can interact with it without even having to become changing your belief system. There's medicine back there for your giveaways. Everybody can have whatever's on that table. If I didn't want to part with it, I wouldn't have put it on the table. There's assorted feathers. There's a couple bones, some furs. There's coyote. There's badger. There's otter. Crystals. Ask me about the feathers, or Scott or Becky afterwards, and they can point out to you. They can tell you what direction they're coming from, what some of the energies, what some of the lessons. You could also go online or look in certain books like medicine cards or sacred path cards from the sands. And then you could also, golly, every culture has a different lesson with the animals. And certain animals aren't born in our country, like elephant is not in my Native American medicine cards. There's no elephants here anymore, anyway. But in Africa and in Asia, they're going to have different medicine animals than we do here. But it doesn't mean that you can't be attracted to an animal you've never met before in your life. It's like your spirit animal, that spirit guide, that part of the animal that just wants to teach you a little bit a lesson about walking the planet. It's like without getting too dogmatic with any of this stuff, and just appreciating it from a lesson point of view. From a like, hey man, this is neat. Wow, I really appreciate that. What are you trying to tell me? Coyote, bear, raccoon, eagle, owl, ant, mouse. Everybody always wants to be, I am bear, eagle, bear, eagle, hawk man. Okay, what about, I am gerbil. I am rat man. I am gerbil, ant, butterfly boy.
I am sloth.
Sloth. Good medicine. For Sundays. But for Mondays, we might need eagle again. Or antelope brings us back into action. They all have a lesson. They all just teaching us. It's just about a story. That's why I say let go of the dogma. I've let go so much of the dogma in my life, even within my Native American self and selves, a part of the joy I have in this culture, without making it a religion again for myself. And yet I embrace it because they've helped me reconnect with this planet in a different way. And I believe some of the languages of the land, the Native brothers and sisters, I can speak English to an animal, or I can use some of the Lakota terms. This vibrates different. So just feel it and play with it and have fun with it. But you can go, hi bear, or you can go, Mato. Whatever, man. Have fun with it. The thing is, you're saying hi to your brother or your sister because you are bear, you are coyote, you are an eagle, you are an ant, you are an amoeba, you are the bacteria. We are everything. Even our religion will tell us we're all connected. But they're telling us in a different way. They're always telling us to go around this circle, that each and every one of us are going to take a chance in every direction. And no direction is better than the rest. What would the world would be without North? How could I exist without North? Think about that. Could you? Could we remove North? It's impossible to remove a direction. So it's impossible for us to try to deny. Well, I mean, we could try to deny it, but my point is it's impossible for us to walk a lifetime without walking in all of it. So it means to everything there is a season. So sometimes I'm going to be that spiritual wise one that's going to know. I'm going to have the answers for me and the people. Sometimes I'm going to have to go back into the dark to figure it all out because I forgot. Sometimes I'm going to take those answers and build something in the east for other people to maybe see. Something tangible that they can see. My little kid did that. The only reason for that is my little kid. To have fun to see it. What's the purpose of it? You can't plug it in. But you can get plugged into it. And just have fun with it. And to not judge any of it. And just to walk. Where's that connection again? That blue road, red road. Knowing that all the ancestors that came before us are here with us right now. Right here, in our hearts. In that center. In who I am. Knowing that there's more than me that I could ever. Great mystery is Wakan Tonka. Sacred spirit is what it translates to. But if you want to go to the hierarchy, is a step below the great void, the great mystery. That Wakan Tonka, that great spirit or Holy Spirit, is part of the great mystery. So in their culture, they have it broken down in an understanding, but they also understand the more, that we're part of it all. They believe in celestial beings. They believe that even as you looked at in the Eagles Cry song, where I was saying the line, the creepies and the crawlies, the four-legged and winged ones, all of them, man, all of them are our relations. I have this shirt I wear all the time called Mitakuye. That's what it means. It's Mitakuye Oyasin. It's how it's said in Lakota. When I hear it online, pronounced in there. That's how they say it. I always say, what do we say on my tacos, Essie? More taco sauce, things like that, playfully. Or we'll say it fast and go Mitakuye. But understanding that there's a vibration in every word, just like when we hear Buddhist chanting or some of the Gregorian chanting from our Christian backgrounds, like feel it in your body and feel it in your soul as these different cultures and religions are chanting the vibrations of their culture. That's what happens in these languages. Listen to languages and listen to the words and let them vibrate within you. You don't have to become an Indian. You don't have to learn Lakota, Apache, any language. You just have to hear the vibration of it and feel it and know that it's part of you. Know that there's moments that you are the North, moments that you are the South, and on and on and on. And then above, below, within part of us. So taking this journey around the medicine wheel and honoring the Native American brothers and sisters that came here first and talked a little about the yucky stuff that happened to them. But I wrote a poem a long time ago called Forgive Me the Man, where as a man, and for men, my brother men, that were stuck in pain, there's this one line that says, forgive me the man who's done none of these things, yet bound by the guilt of ancestral strings. Well, I've never killed an Indian either, or a Native American. I've never enslaved one of my African American brothers or sisters. But there's a certain part of me that is ancestrally linked to the pain of that. And that's what I really wanted to make the point today about, was to let go of that in our own history, to forgive our forefathers and ourselves as a people for some of the atrocities done to our Native brothers and sisters, and then let it go so that we can go into a ceremony like tonight in a really good way, knowing that the lessons they taught us are still here in America. Look at half of the country's names of towns, streets, states. They're all Indian names, man. Football teams, sports teams. We honor them and dishonor them and honor them because they're so magical, and we didn't know what to do with it. So like, we'll call it Ohio. In Illinois, which is French, but whatever. It's part of the Sioux thing. Kansas. Oh, Manitoba, which is Canada, but it's another Indian name. Ottawa, Ontario, it's all Indian names. Matter of fact, a lot of the stuff in Canada is Indian names too. So we realized, wow, us white people have been embracing the whole culture since the whole time and didn't even realize it. Look at our Constitution. It's formatted after the Sioux Iroquois Nation's Constitution. They just discombobulated it a little bit because they forgot the council part and standing behind the man and saying, no, do this. If you want this to work, and the Chiefs would go, you're right, thank you for that balance, because he just wanted to fight. And we bring it together in a good way. And we know that the chief was just as important as the women medicine people. Balance. Nobody was thought if there was gender differences, like, okay, you do this and you do that. They did have their cultural differences, but everybody was honored. Everybody had something to bring to the medicine wheel, and you knew that. They weren't going to go, well, the women have nothing to bring to the medicine wheel. Yeah, stand by Moon Lodge one day and see what happens. And in Moon Lodge, it's when women are on their cycle, and it's the most powerful point in a woman's medicine that the men, I've been saying this for years, just scared of women, and even Native American men, okay, you can have your own lodge for this time, and we'll just stay away. Now, I say it playfully, but there's also an honoring of it too, because they really did honor how powerful their sisters were. And there's a lot of cultures that did it in a really good way, and some that, we're still learning. We're still learning in America. All of this will help that. All of these things will help that. And you may never want to do it in a Native American style. Go find a culture for you that brings the embodiment of these directions, because that's really what it's about. It's about the balance, and to know that that medicine wheel turns. So sometimes north will be in the south, and east will be in the west. And understand that's the Heyoka medicine of it. When I poured lodges before, and I started in the south, and I did a Heyoka round, which ended back in the south. And it's because it's where we come in and where we go out. It would be a more gentle round and quicker, but it's called a Heyoka round too. It's that backwards medicine. Just understanding that at any point in time, you may be in one of these, you may be in reverse. Just honor the whole thing. Let these medicine guardians help fly you in and out of these directions, or carry you in and out. Let bear bring you back out of the cave and place you on the ground gently in the front of the cave. Let eagle come and drop a rabbit down for you to eat when you need nourished. Let white buffalo come in and bring all the wonder that a buffalo can, stampeding at you full force with purity, love, wisdom, prayers of the people, knowing that all will be taken care of for everyone. Let these animals help you. Look in your world and notice the animals in your life. Notice the animals in your life. What medicines do they carry with them? It's all part of it. As we come into tonight, I ask and invite us to bring these wonderful lessons that we may have known and we may be knowing and learning now into tonight's ceremony. Because we are the Americans now. We are the ones that embody these feelings, whether you ever heard of Native American stuff or not, because I know you people. I see it in you. I watch you act this out in your lives. This is just to give you a little bit of what it looks like for them. Anything back there is yours to take. My goal is for that table to be empty, and I'm giving it away. It's not that I don't want it anymore, it's paying it forward. So I hope that table's empty when we leave. And it's an informal close. No homotopic. We're done. How do you like that? Thank you. That's Coyote. And now another fun special music song. Coyote walks with me daily.